And what is up with it, everybody? Live from the studios of WIUR here at the La Penta Student Union at Iona University. It's Woolley Mammoth Wednesdays. I am your host, Cameron Woolley, bringing you the best and only the best sports on campus. So, obviously, the big talk of town right now, the New York Yankees and New York Mets have both played playoff games. The Mets season has ended, and we'll get to that very soon. But for now, last night, the New York Yankees played game one of their American League Division Series against the Cleveland now Guardians, and they won. And it's great. They're up 1-0. Best of 5 series, only 2 more wins before they go on to probably face Houston for another rematch in the ALCS. And I don't want to look ahead. Cleveland's a great team. They have good pitching, and they have some very annoying hitters. But overall, Yankees did what they needed to do in game one. Just want to give a special shout out to Garrett Cole. No, he's been under a lot of heat this year from a lot of people, hey, myself included. I have been very much giving Garrett Cole a lot of grief for the way he's pitched this year. He hasn't been able to prevent the big inning. He has given up too many home runs. The way he hasn't attacked hitters as often as he should have. But I am going to say that Garrett Cole definitely pitched brilliantly last night in Yankee Stadium. His first ever playoff start as a Yankee in Yankee Stadium in pinstripes. And he again turned in a great start. His final line, 6 1/3 innings pitched, 4 hits, 1 walk, but that walk was to Jose Ramirez, which honestly I'm not going to give a pitcher any sort of trouble for walking one of the best hitters on the planet with nobody on base. And only 1 earned run and 8 strikeouts. So definitely a great start from Cole. Got a great, well-deserved ovation from the Yankee Stadium crowd, which sold out crowd. They were bumping. Unfortunately, TBS didn't have the field mics turned on as up as they should have been, which is a failure on the production for them. But you know what? There's a reason they get paid boatloads of money to do it, and I don't. But just a great environment in Yankee Stadium. And for Cole, coming off a weekend where Scherzer failed, Gausman failed, Manoah failed, and on a day where Fried and Verlander failed. Granted, Verlander got picked up in the end by some gross mismanagement by Scott Service by putting in Robbie Ray to face Yordan Alvarez when the Mariners bullpen is about as deep as anyone's in baseball. And he hit a walk-off home run to make sure Verlander didn't get the loss in that game, but Verlander got rocked. And so many aces came up short. So many top-of-the-line guys didn't perform. And Cole went in, and he understood his assignment. He shoved. There's no other way to put it. He shoved. And there were a couple of times where things got a little dicey. The first inning, like the first 2 innings, he threw 40 pitches. The third inning, he gave up the home run to Kwan, and the bases got loaded. And then we're thinking, oh, great, here we go again. But he got the strikeout of Naylor, I believe, or somebody in the Guardians lineup struck out to end the third inning. But he took care of Cleveland's great hitters. And this is a great lineup too. Like, I don't want people to go out and say, oh, he just did it against the Guardians. The Guardians have 6 hitters in that lineup with WRC pluses over 100. Now, WRC plus is basically a measure of offense, with the number 100 being average and anything above or below that is above or below average. Like if, like say, I think, okay, let me look up some of the Guardians stats here on Fangraphs. But say someone has a 140 weighted runs created plus, that means they were 40% above league average for general offense. But anyways, he provided length. He got out of trouble. He got whiffs from a lineup that doesn't whiff. And he made sure that this very shaky bullpen only needed to get 8 outs. And those 8 outs, they weren't easy. But they induced the double play balls. This bullpen, I mean, Wandy Peralta was great. I definitely want him to be the guy to pitch, the 1-run games in the 8th, the real high leverage spots. So far, out of the guys in this pen, I want Peralta to be the guy coming in and getting those super high leverage outs, because Loaizaga, yeah, he was fine. He got the double play ball to end the 7th, but he got the tying run came up to the plate with him. Holmes, I'm super concerned with his command. Like Holmes, he doesn't throw his sinker for strikes, and when it is thrown for strikes, he throws it to the other half of the plate. And when he throws it anywhere remotely inside, he's plunking batters. So I am very concerned with Clay Holmes, and the Yankees won't go that far if Clay Holmes isn't, well, Clay Holmes. But anyways, the hitters, and this is important, hitters outside of Judge stepped up, and that's crucial. That is going to be crucial because pitching staffs going into playoff games against the Yankees, going into a playoff series against the Yankees, are going to be concerned about one guy and one guy only, Aaron Judge. The guy who hit over 300, the guy who had an OPS over 1,100 and hit 62 home runs. That is going to be the guy they are worried about. That is going to be the one guy they are worried about getting. And Cleveland managed him very well. They struck him out 3 times. And the good thing is, you're not going to see that out of Judge in every game in the playoffs. I know I'm not going to see it out of Judge in every game in this playoff. Sure, is he not going to get a lot of mistake pitches from a great staff that is going to be pitching him very cautiously? No. But I'm sure he's not going to be striking out 3 times a game. And when he did walk, Anthony Rizzo, the guy behind him, hit a 2-run home run that gave the Yankees some very, very crucial breathing room that it turns out they didn't really need, but it definitely made my heart rate go down, and it made you could feel a sense of like just a sigh of relief when Rizzo hit that home run. And after he went deep, I'm like, okay, now soft landing. If you make the landing, you win this game, you go up 1-0. Certain things that you think about in playoff baseball games. It's like, okay, now we just stick the landing. And they did. And now they're up 1-0. The defense outside of wait, never mind. I don't want to talk about. Still want to talk about the offense. The offense outside of Judge, you had Harrison Bader hit his first Yankee home run, and he made a great play in center. He's gonna be a key piece. If he hits and he keeps playing great defense, the Yankees are gonna go very far. Because you have a 5-tool player when he's at his peak, a 5-tool player like Harrison Bader doing what he can do, then you're going to win a lot of ball games. You're going to win a lot of very tight playoff games with his skill set. They manufactured a run. I think it was in the 4th or 5th inning, or maybe the 6th. No, it was in the. Hold on, I have the box score up here. In the 5th inning, when Kiner Falefa hit really what should have been a single, but Oscar Gonzalez misplayed it and turned it into a triple. Then Jose Trevino hit a sac fly. And as much as I stress the importance of power and selling out for barrels and hitting home runs against pitching staffs that you can't string together hits off of, when you're in a situation like, say, runner on third, less than 2 outs, your main priority shouldn't be going deep. Your main priority should be to just get a ball deep enough into the outfield to score the runner from third and get a run because newsflash, runs are very, very hard to come by in the playoffs when you have pitching staffs that aren't going to be giving up a lot of hits. The defense outside of Kiner Falefa, who I have a myriad of problems with, even though he did get that hit that ended up scoring a run in the fifth. I still don't trust him at short, and that is a massive red flag. I have been very vocal about my disdain for this regime's insistence on Kiner Falefa being a crucial part of this team. But, he didn't end up killing us. I mean, he almost did, but he didn't. He had that bad double play in the second that really derailed a bunch of momentum. Had a lot of people thinking, "Whoa, that we might lose," but other than that, there was that great play by Cabrera where he leaped into foul territory. A fan knocked off his hat. They ended up dabbing that fan up and getting his hat back. I tell you, I love Oswaldo Cabrera. Even though he didn't do anything offensively last night, I just love what he brings to this team. He brings gold glove defense everywhere you put him. And, he has this energy to him. And, when he does start hitting, it's going to be awesome because of that energy that he brings. Donaldson made a great play at third that greatly lengthened Cole's performance in this game. It was actually the play after Cabrera's leap in the stands. And I tell you, both of those plays really changed the game. Like, you talk about, like, in playoff games, you look at little moments like that you don't really notice in the regular season when you're looking at a big picture. You look at bits and moments like that, and you think, wow, that was a huge deal. Like, that really changed the way this game and series is going to be played. Rizzo had the misplay at first, but then Cole ended up getting out of it, which is a huge deal. Limiting the big inning was a problem of his for a while, but he limited the big inning. Torres didn't really do anything at second. Judge, I don't even know if he got a play in right, but Trevino framed pretty well. Overall defense, really liking what I'm seeing. And looking forward to game 2. Nestor Cortez, long story short, I trust him. I think I thought he should have been the game 1 starter, but hey, Cole did an amazing job, and I trust Nestor to do an amazing job. I'm against Shane Bieber, who the Yankees teed off of in the 2020 wild card series. But, it's a different year, playoffs, small sample size. Everything can be so luck-based. But game 2, I'm feeling very confident. It'll probably be rained out tomorrow night. So game 2 will instead be Friday night. But again, if you play the way you should absolutely win this game, and you should win game 3 with Severino. And then game 4, you're going to have Cole again. Or maybe Tyone. I don't know, maybe Cole pitching on short rest might not be the best idea in the world, but I digress. Anyways, on to the other team in New York, the Mets. Just want to talk a little wee bit about them. Paint it however you want. This season was a total abject, embarrassing failure. You have Cohen, the second year of Steve Cohen, spends all this money, and they start out amazing. They have a 10.5 game lead in the division. They're lording over the Yankees, who sputtered in August. And it seems like everything a Mets fan could dream of. They're king of the city. They have an owner who cares, and don't get me wrong, this owner still cares. I'm jealous of Steve Cohen, or I'm jealous that Mets fans have Steve Cohen. But um, hey, with the standard you're held to now, like the standard right now is a championship team that is going to go deep into the playoffs, and the Mets got knocked out in 3 by the Padres, a team who the Mets weren't even considered to be remotely close to. And I'm talking about like not like the Mets were like so much worse than the Padres, but the Mets were so much better than the Padres. On paper, they should have swept them with Scherzer and DeGrom, but Scherzer, he wasn't there. Like, sure, like if we're gonna hold Garrett Cole to the standard of excellence and scrutinize him every single time he pitches because of a bad playoff start, that maybe or maybe not is an outlier. You bet we're gonna scrutinize Scherzer every single time he pitches now, and they better scrutinize Scherzer every single time he goes out there, because when they needed him the most, he wasn't there. And if we're gonna be holding these big money pitchers in New York to this standard of perfection in the playoffs, then every single time Scherzer pitches, he needs to be under a microscope. Every mistake he makes needs to be magnified to the degree that Cole's mistakes were magnified. And I have a feeling with the way the media, talk show hosts and all that are talking about him, I think he is going to be subject to that amount of scrutiny by the media, which is good. Which is very, very good. Welcome to our world, Met fans. Welcome to our world. And another thing that I want to say about the Mets offense, my big criticism of them going in was that they didn't have enough power. They had Alonso, and that's it. Like, sure, yeah, Lindor, he's a bit of a power threat, but he's not a guy who can go yard most of the time he's up, or most of the balls he connects with, he's not going to go yard on him. And the stats back this up. Like, ESPN literally showed a graphic. Teams that out-homer their opponent in October win an overwhelming majority of the time. And it's not just like, there are 5 games above 500. They're like 27-1, like on average in the playoffs, when a team out-homers another team. And the Yankees out-homered Cleveland. The only run that came off of Cole, that came off the Yankees, was a solo shot. 3 of the Yankees' 4 runs were home runs. And the only other one came off of a fly ball that went relatively deep enough to score a fast base runner. And I'm just going to say this right now. The contact, the whole bat to ball, put the ball in play, stringing together hits, that sort of philosophy doesn't play in the playoffs. I know it sounds weird, but it doesn't play. You're going to be going up against pitching staffs that aren't going to be prone to giving up rallies like that. Like Garrett Cole. Sure, he was on the cusp of giving up a rally, but he was good enough to stop it in its tracks. Like Cal Quantrill. Every single time the Yankees had a rally going, he was good enough to stop it dead in its tracks. The Guardians bullpen, whenever the Yankees had somewhat of a rally going, good enough to stop it dead in its tracks. The only reason the Yankees got as many runs as they did off of Quantrill was because they hit home runs. And again, stats back it up. Like the reason why the Padres beat the Mets, the reason why the Padres beat Scherzer, they went deep off of him 4 times. Like a Trent Grisham went deep. When you hit home runs, you win. When you try and play for contact constantly, you don't. Then you end up like the Mets. And the Guardians, that contact philosophy, it got them only 1 run. off a pitcher who was very shaky going into the playoffs. And it barely got them by Tampa Bay. The only runs that Cleveland have scored in the playoffs were off of homers. So don't come to me with this, oh, put the bat on the ball, put the ball in play. Good things will happen. I'm like, yeah, that's possible, but you're going to have good defense back there. You're going to have great pitching staffs. You are going to have factors that mitigate rallies and stringing together hits. Sure, occasionally it'll happen, but most of the time it doesn't. Like, I saw A-Rod tweet something about, like, how everything other than home runs is the key to winning in October. Meanwhile, this is the same guy. The only time he ever won a World Series championship was because he hit big home runs in the playoffs. This is coming from a guy who hit 696 bombs. If he didn't get cut off by the Yankees, he would have hit 700. So if it's anyone who should know about the value of home runs in the playoffs, it should be him. I don't know. It's just a little bone I have to pick with some baseball people. Talk about contact. Contact wins in October. Sure, situational hitting, like, the sac fly, manufacturing runs. I understand that. But when you're in that situation, it works. Again, runner on third, less than 2 outs. Don't try to do anything other than hit a sac fly. But any other situation, you sell out for barrels and try to go deep. Because the numbers say that's what wins championships. And I sincerely hope the Yankees keep going with that approach. The uppercut swings. The going up there, trying to barrel the baseball. Like, I hope the Yankees keep going with that approach, because if they keep going with that approach, they've got a good shot. If they play up to their potential, they've got a good shot at this. Anyways, that's enough of baseball. Let's talk some football. Let's talk about the New York Football Giants. How about them? My God, dude. In London, they went into London, into Tottenham, and they beat Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers to advance to 4-1 on the season. Like, call me crazy, but dude, are the New York Giants good? Are they good? Like, we gotta have a serious conversation about this, because even though the roster isn't, it's terrible. The New York Giants roster is awful. Objectively, top to bottom, it's awful, and it's injured. It was awful before it was injured, and it's even more awful now that it is injured. But Brian Daboll and this coaching staff schemed a borderline perfect second half that shut out the back-to-back reigning MVP in Aaron Rodgers. The only points the Packers scored was a garbage time safety that the Giants intentionally gave up to give the defense better field position. Mike Kafka and Brian Daboll, I tell you, dude, Brian Daboll at this point is already the 5th best coach in football. Like, the only guys I could put above him are McDermott, Belichick, McVay, and I'm forgetting someone. McDermott, Belichick, McVay, and Andy Reid. That's it. Those are the only guys I can put above Daboll confidently right now with what he has done with this roster. And on offense, they know that their roster's beaten up. They know they have no receivers. So they're just going out there and they're throwing the book at these guys. They are just literally and figuratively throwing the entire playbook at these opposing defenses. Motions, double reverses, wildcat plays. And getting the ball into the one playmaker's hands in Saquon Barkley, who had another great game. Again, run out of the wildcat. Super creative stuff. Play action, bootlegs, read options, QB draws on third down. Just crazy creativity that I have never seen from the Giants. Never in my life have I seen a Giant coaching staff be this creative when it comes to their play design and play calling. Because they know that's the way they're going to win. They can't outwork these guys. They can't outwork good teams like the Packers. They can't outwork good teams like the Titans. They can't out-talent them. Because the Giants have less talent than just about anybody in the league, except for Saquon Barkley. But they went out there and played a great game, genuinely. And Daniel Jones, as much as I don't really think he's the answer, this team can win with him. With this coaching staff, and if the roster gets better, open him up a little more, this team can win with him. I do think they should go in a different direction at quarterback in the future, but dude, Jones went out there and played the game of his life against a very good team, the biggest game of his career out there against Aaron Rodgers and the Packers, a very sound Packers defense. He went out there and went on some key drives, key drives out there to win that game. And most of that is due in part to the genius of a coach he has. It's mostly due part to the genius offensive coordinator he has, and most of that is due in part to the freakishly talented running back that he has. But the point being, Daniel Jones once again got it done. Whether it be with his arm or with his legs, on one ankle, he went out there and did just enough against a great defense and a great football team, down 10 points at halftime. He went out there, orchestrated a comeback, and it was great. It was awesome to see, and there's legit excitement. I say this every week, but it just gets even bigger and more vibrant. There is legit excitement surrounding the New York Giants. And imagine like a couple years in the future, once they have a couple of draft classes, once they have cap space to sign guys in free agency, once they make a few trades here and there, once there's talent on this roster, that's a championship blueprint right there. With this general manager and this coach and this staff, which unfortunately I think Kafka and Martindale are going to get head coaching offers after this year. But this, if they stay together, this is a blueprint for one of the best and most well-oiled machines in football. Once they get talented, once they get guys who can go out there and execute better, once they have linebackers better than Tay Crowder and Jihad Ward, once they get corners better than Darnay Holmes and Nate McLeod and Aaron Robinson and Adoree Jackson. The safeties, Xavier McKinney is going to be here for a while. He's elite. He is one of the few good decisions that Dave Gettleman made as GM. And even like the good players that Gettleman brought in are being upgraded exponentially because of the staff. Like what Brian Daboll and these guys are doing is remarkable. Absolutely remarkable what I am seeing from Daboll and Kafka and Wink. It's brilliant and it's incredible to see. And you know what? Like I'm sitting here, the Giants, worst 4-1 team in NFL history, with a supposed great bona fide Super Bowl contender in the Baltimore Ravens coming to town, who look beatable after last week. You know what? We're the worst 4-1 team of all time. You know what? Let's conduct a perfect scheme to beat Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens and become the worst 5-1 team of all time. And after that, let's win enough games to get into the playoffs and become the worst team to ever make the playoffs. And then you know what? After that, let's become the worst team to ever win a playoff game. And after that, let's become the worst team to win the NFC. And after that, let's become the worst team to ever win the Super Bowl. Because you know what? Having no real expectations gives the freedom and the energy and the positive vibes needed to conduct a surprise run like this. And I'm not saying that this team is going to win the Super Bowl. It is very possible that this team loses 6 games in a row and falls out of the race by November. Or like by Thanksgiving, they could be completely out of it. I do understand that that is a possibility. But you know what? Right now, that's what this team looks like. They look like a good team. Granted, they don't have a good roster, but they're a good team. They are a really good team. And if they keep winning games, I love how every single time, when they beat the Titans in week 1, it was, oh, they were a fluky 1 seed. Not they beat the Packers. It's, they're a fraudulent team. Aaron Rodgers isn't as good as he used to be. You know what? Let's turn a bunch of other teams into frauds. Let's turn Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens into frauds next week. I want to come in here and talk about a 5-1 team that has aspirations not only to make the playoffs, but go on a run. That's what I want to talk about. And it's awesome that I have the ability to talk about this for the first time in my career as someone who talks about sports. Going back to the start of the Cameron Woolley show in 2019 when I was 14 years old, a freshman in high school, like deep into Dave Gettleman's horrific administration as Giants GM. Going in there watching so much losing. And now, for the first time, I can talk about a team that's good in football, that is. And I want it to get better. Like, I want to keep winning games. I want to keep driving people up a wall. I want to keep making experts scratch their head as to how this team could possibly win games. I'm sort of repeating myself here, but that's how excited I am. Anyways, I think that'll about do it here from WIUR. This is it for, I believe, episode 4 of Woolley Mammoth Wednesdays. I've had a great time doing this, talking sports, broadcasting it to, and however few people I'm broadcasting it to. But you know what? I'm having a great time. I hope you all had a great time. From the studios of WIUR, I'm Cameron Woolley. Take care, fellas.